Russian police rounded up scores of protesters Wednesday as allies of hunger-striking Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny staged nationwide protests over his failing health in jail. Meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin warned the West against provocation. We get more from Reuters' Lucy Fielder.
President Vladimir Putin warned the West on Wednesday not to cross Russia's red lines, saying Moscow would respond swiftly and harshly to provocations. Relations are under acute strain over Ukraine and the health of jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny, whose supporters were gathering in protest across the country as Putin spoke. Putin makes a point of never naming Navalny, his fiercest critic, who is 3 weeks into a hunger strike in jail and gravely ill. Monitors said police seized scores of protesters in the first hours of the rallies. Before them, 2 of Navalny's closest allies were arrested in Moscow, their lawyers said. They were Lyubov Sobol, one of the faces of Navalny's popular YouTube channel, and Kira Yarmysh, his spokeswoman.
That's Reuters' Lucy Fielder. Attorney General Merrick Garland says the Justice Department is opening a sweeping investigation into policing practices in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after the guilty verdict in the death of George Floyd.
To determine whether the Minneapolis Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of unconstitutional or unlawful policing.
Wednesday's announcement came one day after former officer Derek Chauvin was found guilty of murder and manslaughter in Floyd's May 2020 death. Bystander video showed Floyd handcuffed behind his back and gasping repeatedly, "I can't breathe," as Chauvin pressed his knee on or close to Floyd's neck for several minutes. Floyd's death prompted mass protests against the police treatment of black people. Amid diminishing demand for COVID-19 vaccination shots, the White House is offering businesses a tax incentive for giving employees paid leave to get vaccinated. AP's Sagar Meghani reports.
President Biden says he's heard some American workers have not received shots because they can't afford to take a day off.
No working American should lose a single dollar from their paycheck because they chose to fulfill their patriotic duty of getting vaccinated.
So he says businesses can get tax breaks for providing paid time off, not just for the shot, but to deal with side effects. He made the announcement while saying the U.S. is set to meet his goal of administering 200 million shots within his first 100 days in office.
The progress we've made has been stunning.
With more than half of adults at least partially vaccinated and everyone over 16 now eligible for shots. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Almost 24 COVID-19 patients that were on ventilators died in a hospital in western India after a leak in the main oxygen supply. AP's Karen Chamas has details.
Authorities say the disruption lasted no more than 15 minutes before full oxygen supply was resumed. However, this proved too long for many patients in the Zakir Hussain Hospital in Maharashtra state that is the worst hit by the latest surge in coronavirus cases in the country. Television images showed white fumes spreading in the hospital area, causing panic. A police officer said the leak occurred in a pipe connecting the oxygen supply to the main tank in the hospital complex. Overall, India has reported more than 15.6 million confirmed cases, the second highest behind the United States. I'm Karen Chamas.
A South Korean court on Wednesday upheld Japan's state immunity to dismiss a lawsuit raised by a group of women who were forced to work in Japanese wartime brothels. Reuters' Olivia Chan reports.
The court upheld Japan's state immunity and dismissed the women's lawsuit, contradicting a ruling in a separate earlier case that ordered Tokyo to compensate victims. Many surviving comfort women, a Japanese euphemism for the sexual abuse victims, are demanding Tokyo's formal apology and compensation. Remnants of Japan's 1910 to 1945 colonial rule of the Korean Peninsula remain contentious from both sides. In January, diplomatic tension flared between the two countries after another judge ruled in favor of other women in a separate case, ordering Japan to pay compensation for the first time.
That's Reuters' Olivia Chan.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.